Hi, welcome to the Corelli Show.
I'm Corey.
I'm Ellie, and this is Baby Sage.
Welcome to Nature Art Club,
the online edition. This week, we're learning about water. Today, we are focusing on the ocean.
The ocean is full of life. Over 225,000 different kinds of animals live in the ocean, and those are only the ones that we know about. There's thought to be over 2 million more that we don't know about and are still a total mystery to us. Maybe someday you could help discover a new one.
Hi! So today, because we're learning about oceans, we're going to make a watercolor and salt painting. And that's exactly what the ocean is. It's water and salt. So today I've got all of my supplies. I've got salt, my watercolor palette, water, a brush, and a piece of paper. And I'm going to use these to make my watercolor salt painting. Pause the video here so you can go and collect your supplies. So the first thing for watercolor is water. I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to get it wet, and then I'm going to choose which color I want. I'm thinking purple. So I'm going to just rub my brush around inside the purple paint, and then I'm going to add my paint to my picture. And I'll just keep choosing more colors as I want. I'm going to do a lot of purple polka dots. Boop, 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 boop. And with my salt, I want to make sure that I add it while my watercolor is still wet. Otherwise, it's not going to make the cool effect. So all my dots are very wet still. And I'm going to take my salt shaker and I'm just going to give it a sprinkle. Sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. All right. And then I'm going to move on to more colors. Here's a sped up version of me completing mine. You can pause the video here so you can finish making yours. This is what mine looked like once I was finished. This is what mine looked like once it dried.
To a swimmer, this means danger. Shark. Sharks are supposed to be unpredictable. Savage killers. Man-eaters. Are they?
There are nearly 500 different species of sharks on the earth. Out of those, only about a dozen are potentially dangerous to people. And even those that are potentially dangerous would prefer not to eat people. They'd rather eat other things. So shark attacks on people are actually very rare. Hello everybody, welcome to Drawing with Corey. Today we're focusing on the ocean. We're going to draw fish. We're going to draw them in the ocean, and we're going to draw a little bit of seaweed on the ocean floor. Let's get to it. Our first line is going to be long and kind of curved. So we start here at the nose and go up over the back and then down in the back for the fin. And we want the end of the line to be lower than where we started. Now, after we do this line, we are going to start again back at the beginning for the nose. And we're going to drop down low about the same place that we have over here and then curve up. And now we've got the fish body and our fin, so we just need to connect this to close it in. It's kind of like an open C shape, just a gentle curve. And now we can go back in and add some detail to our fish. So I want to start with an eye, which is just a small circle here near the front of the head. Then a smaller black circle for the center of the eye, right there. We've got him looking forward. Then we can add a mouth. I'm gonna make him a happy little fish. So I'm gonna do a small little curve on the bottom half of this fish. And to give him a little extra smile and give him a little bit of a cheek, I'm going to do a tiny little C shape right here. Next, we can add in our fins. So we've got a top one up here, which is just a little line sloping back on the top of our fish. Then skip over a little space, and then do the same thing. Then we'll connect those two top lines, and we can do his side fin next, which will be similar. We'll just do two little lines, then we'll connect those two, just like at the top. And I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of extra detail here. We're gonna cut a line through the middle of the fish between the fin and the face to kind of separate the head of the fish from the rest of the body. Then I'm gonna add in just a few extra lines on the fins. And our next touch to make this fish look more like he's swimming through the water is to add a few air bubbles coming up from his mouth. Boop, boop, boop. So we're starting with a small one and maybe a big one after that, then another. You can do as many bubbles as you want. So our fish is going to be swimming through the ocean, and on the bottom of the ocean, on the sea floor, we see lots of different things. And one is seaweed. So if we draw seaweed, it'll make it look more like the ocean. So I'm starting off with just a little S curve going up. And I'm going to add another one coming down right beside it. Like this. And I want to make sure that they meet up there at the top. And I'm going to add another piece of seaweed right beside it. Another little squiggle line. And then maybe some shorter ones down here. And inside of them, I'm just going to draw some shorter lines. And really, this seaweed is mostly just squiggles. Squiggle lines coming up from the bottom. And maybe under it we could put in some rocks. Which can really be any kind of shape we want as long as it's closed. And I'll add a few more little rocks in down here. And now we have seaweed at the bottom of our ocean where our fish is swimming. And also at the bottom of the ocean, we have sand. So if we wanted to draw the bottom of the ocean floor, we'd draw a line all the way across from one side to the other. And add in a few dots here or there to make it look like little sand specks. And there we have it. We have seaweed added to our fish scene. Here's a sped up version of me finishing mine. You can pause the video here so you can finish yours too.
What do you like about the ocean? Hi friends, today we're going to do an experiment. We're going to test whether an egg will float in fresh water or salt water. These are all of the materials you'll need for your experiment. I've got a pitcher of warm water, salt, 2 eggs, some blue food dye, 2 jars, and a spoon. And what I'm going to do is test whether the egg will float in salt water or fresh water. Which do you think? All right, so what I'm gonna do is take some of my warm water and I'm gonna pour some into both of my jars. All right, in my freshwater jar, I'm gonna leave it plain, nothing in there. In my ocean water salt jar, I'm gonna take a little bit of some salt, pour it in, and add a little bit of some blue food dye so we know there's a difference. 1 drop will do, it's pretty potent. I'll take my spoon and stir it in. I want to add 1 more drop of dye. There we go. So I stir the salt in, which helps it dissolve into the water. Now I've got salt water, which is more dense than fresh water. When we dissolve the salts into it, it makes the water have more mass. So let's see what that means for our experiment. I'm gonna take both of my eggs, 1 at a time, and I'm gonna drop the egg into the water. Do you think this one will float or sink? Let's see. Ooh, that one sank. What about this egg? Do you think this egg will float or sink in my salt water? Let's see. It floated! Just like when we go into the ocean, we float when we swim. We're more buoyant because of all the salt in the water, adding more mass. Now it's time for some viewer photos. Thank you so much for following along, everybody. If you would like to have your photos shown here, just send it to our email or our social media. Thank you so much, Nova, Farah, Brielle, and Jade, and Grace for following along with our videos today. Y'all did an amazing job.
We'll see you next time.